Okay, guys, today we're going to talk about adventure photography. Now, adventure photography is my favorite form of photography, and it's probably because of my love for national parks. So I go to national parks with my husband. Our goal is to try to hit all of them. We're at about 15 right now, and we go on hikes, we do wildlife photography, all of that fun stuff. However, there is a side of photography that takes this extreme side of nature photography. And it's basically like you're hanging off the side of a cliff, you are, diving into caves, going underwater, all of this stuff that I cannot do. Maybe when I was younger, maybe before kids, but definitely not now. So that's probably where I get my love of adventure photography. I have so much respect for what these photographers do and the lifestyle they lead. I'm kind of jealous. So what I'm going to do today is kind of give you a brief overview of what adventure photography is. I'm going to have you maybe look at some adventure photographers, and then we'll talk more about it tomorrow. So I'm going to keep going with this PowerPoint. You can say hi to my cat back there, Marzipan. Hi, Marzipan. Okay, because she's going to come with us on our journey. So here we go. So what is adventure photography? It's a very fluid form of photography because it's not just taking pictures of a certain subject matter. It is about a whole bunch of different types of subject matters, but you are taking those then to the extreme. So basically, it's a simple act of taking photographs, but with like an extreme kind of adventure aspect to it. Typically, they're outdoors. Typically, it's going to give you very stunning vistas or landscapes. You're going to see kind of dynamic personality styles from the people being photographed, or maybe the wildlife you've never seen. But basically, it's supposed to be challenging, and it's supposed to be this ever changing kind of shooting conditions. So let's look at just some types of those. Now I just kind of put this slide together so you can see a bunch of variety when it comes to adventure photography. So we've got things like extreme sports. So skydiving, kayaking, mountain climbing, surfing, ice climbing, all of these things basically take an adventure photographer. So if you're going to climb a mountain, nobody knows you climbed it unless you have a photographer there taking pictures. Now this year, a movie called Free Solo won Best Documentary at the Oscars. Now, Free Solo is out of Yosemite, and it's about a mountain climber who's climbing El Capitan, which is the highest summit in Yosemite, kind of like the pinnacle of all that is climbing. And he's doing it without ropes or harnesses. So one slip and he falls. Now, what's great about the movie Free Solo is that it's not only about Alex Honnold's journey as this climber, it's about Jimmy Chin, the adventure photographer that's with him. And it's about him climbing and doing all of this stuff with Alex, where Alex could basically die right in front of him or want to die in front of his photographer. So it's a really cool dynamic between these adventure climbers and these adventure photographers that are with them doing everything in the background. So we're going to look more at Jimmy Chin, the adventure photographer that was with him tomorrow. He's one of my absolute favorites. But kind of this is an overview, and I just kind of wanted to touch upon it. Now, wildlife photography could also be considered adventure photography. Think about diving in the water with sharks. Think about, getting right up close and personal with bears who could kick your butt. Think about, these extreme Arctic conditions and you're trying to get pictures of narwhals or orcas out in Alaska. Okay, those are all forms of adventure photography. Now, other forms could include things like water sports, like surfing, could include things like, climbing, which I talked about, maybe even aerial photography. So jumping out of a helicopter, skydiving, paragliding, those are all, linked to this aerial adventure photography. Now, you could always do adventure photography in like metro areas too. When you think about, those parkour people, or you think about the people hanging off the antennas, hopefully they're strapped in. taking pictures looking down from places like the Sears Tower or, you know, the Hancock Building. Those also could be, you know, extreme photography types. So those are just a couple of the things that these photographers do. Now, here's just some examples. Jimmy Chin, the guy I talked about with Free Solo, he's actually right here hanging off the mountain. But what's so cool about it is, so he'll hang like that, or he'll be around a corner of a mountain and just push off, like just holding the ropes to get pictures. You know, sitting on top of a mountain taking pictures, being in the water taking these pictures. Okay. A lot of times these adventure photographers are actually hired by companies like North Face. They're hired by companies like, I'm trying to think of the ones I've seen, like National Geographic, to get these pictures that other photographers will never get. And they make a lot of money doing it. However, their lifestyles, because they're traveling to all of these crazy places, aren't your typical lifestyles. They lead this kind of nomad life, which is actually pretty cool when you think about it, but not for everyone. So that's kind of like my little intro to adventure photography. Now I'm going to ask you some open-ended questions. I'm going to ask you to kind of think like an adventure photographer. Think about some characteristics that these adventure photographers would have. Think about yourself as being an adventure photographer and what you think your niche or genre is that you'd be photographing. And I really can't wait to see your answers. So if you guys have any questions, just a reminder, you can shoot me an email or you can shoot me on a message on Remind. I would be happy to help you through this. If you do want to watch Free Solo, it's a super cool movie. It's on Disney Plus right now because National Geographic was the one that put it together. There's some really awesome climbing movies also on Amazon, like Maru, which is actually Jimmy Chin's adventure scaling a mountain in India. The Dawn Wall is on Netflix, and that follows Tommy Caldwell, you know, while he's climbing the Dawn Wall of El Capitan in Yosemite. But there's lots more, but it kind of gives you that glimpse into that adventure lifestyle. So I cannot wait to see what you guys write, and I will talk to you later.